Alright, you sons of guns. Today we'll be installing some Boomer Linux distribution. This is one of the oldest ones that are still maintained, and its last update was in 2016. I recently got an update in 2022 on February 3rd, and we're going to be installing it. It's given rise to many other distributions. I'm not sure which ones, but specifically the SUSE family of Linux distributions, and it was created with the goal of ease of use and stability as its top priority. It's created by Patrick Volkerding, and yeah, let's just hop right into it. The first thing they want us to do is enter some extra parameters. We don't have any extra parameters. We'll just go ahead and press enter for the default boot. Now we have to select our keyboard map. We're going to go with the standard QWERTY US map. We can test it here. I'll just press 1 to continue. We're going to log in now. We don't have a password or a login. We'll just log in as a root. And we'll fdisk-l to check our partitions. Here we can see that our disk is on dev/SDA with 25 gigabytes. We want to make sure that we have like at least 25, or I'm not sure what the minimum amount is, but 10 is definitely not enough. You'll run into some errors since this is a GUI desktop. Now we're going to fdisk our SDA, and we're going to create our swap partition right here. Our swap partition by pressing N, a primary partition, partition 1, first sector, last sector, we'll just give it 1 gig for safety measures. And we'll change the type to Linux swap, which is 82. We'll create another one, a primary partition, and we'll give it the rest of our storage. And we'll go ahead and write that. Gonna clear everything. Now we're gonna move on to I almost forgot. We have to make our second partition, which is our root partition, bootable. Well, as you can see, if you print it out now, you can see there's this asterisk under the boot, which means it's bootable. We're going to go on now to, earlier it said over here, notice how it says, where is it? Setup. For more information, run setup and read the help files after doing the partitioning. So after we've done the partitioning, we type setup. It's not over here in the documentation. Be careful about that. Keep in mind. We've already done our key maps. We can add swap now. We use our swap partition that we made. I don't have to check if this is a virtual machine. I'm sure it'll be fine. And then we'll choose our root partition and format it as an ext4. And then we'll install from our DVD. This is going to ask how to scan for the disk. We'll just do it on automatic scanning. Here are some packages that we can select and deselect. You can press space to get rid of them. I'll get rid of XFCE and games since we already have KDE Plasma. And I think that's fine. Go ahead and do a root install. We can do a terse install. A terse install basically means it will give an output with each installation, much like any other package manager installation. It'll have a response. If you choose full, you get a GUI response like the Windows logo just twirling around. You have no clue what's actually happening. Go with terse. This may take a while. It takes quite a while actually, since this is a GUI operating system. So I'll be back when it's done. I had time to cook an entire salmon steak by the time it finished loading. That's just how slow my internet is. Anyways, we move on to configuring now. It gives us the option to make a flash boot USB, which means we can basically, I think this is how it works, where we have to plug in a USB each time we want to boot up this operating system. Yeah, but we don't need this, whatever this is. We'll just skip it. Now we have to install Lilo, which is the operating system or the bootloader for booting the Linux kernel and connecting it to an init.rd or the root file system. This is what we need to boot instead of using grub or something else that we typically use. Okay, so I'm not an expert. We don't want to skip. Just go with simple. Apparently, we want to choose the highest one. That's what I've heard. Optional Lilo append. What is this? Some systems might require extra parameters to be passed to the kernel. If you need to pass parameters to the kernel when booting to slackware boot disk, you probably want to enter the same ones here. Most systems won't require any extra parameters. If you don't need any, just hit enter and continue. Okay, I'm just going to hit enter and continue. Lilo can be installed to a variety of places. The super block of your root Linux partition, which could be made the bootable partition with Windows or Linux fdisk, or booted with a program like OS2 Boot Manager, a formatted floppy disk, the master boot record of your first hard drive. Option 1 or 2 are safest, but option 1 does require a little extra work. Well, we can't do this, I think. If you install the Xdisk set, you'll be prompted to select a default window manager or a desktop environment. No, we're not there yet. Super block of your root partition, which could be made the bootable partition with Windows or Linux fdisk. Give me a second. Okay, so it's not for use with the XFS file type. We choose extend for. So, but we're not going to do that because apparently this is harder or something. We did do master boot record since we use the DOS format. The GPM program allows you to cut and paste text on the virtual console using a mouse. If you choose to run it at boot time, the line will add it here. Shall we do this? Nah, it's fine. Would you like to configure your network? Yeah, sure. Give your host name only the base host right now. I'm just gonna go with Slack as host. Enter domain for Slack, such as a .org. We need the domain name for this machine. Oh. Where? Some advanced network setups are required, a VLAN ID in order to connect to your network. Do you wish to configure VLAN ID now? Now we need to know how your machine connects to the network. If you have an internal network card and an assigned IP address, gateway, and DNS, use the static IP choice to enter these values. If your IP address is assigned by a DHCP server commonly used by cable modems and DSL services, select DHCP. Select Network Manager if you would like to have the Network Manager daemon automatically handle your wired and wireless Yeah, I'm just going to do that. Skip everything else, man. Your network system is now configured to use Network Manager for wired and wireless network management. Yep. Selected services will be used at boot time. If you don't need them, you may unselect them to turn them off. a bunch of random stuff. I'm not sure what most of these are. I definitely want SSHD for SSHing. Network file system daemons. That might be useful. Ah, frick. I pressed enter on accident. Oh well. Would you like to try out some custom screen fonts? No. Is the hardware clock set to coordinate universal time clock? If it is, select yes. If the hardware clock is set to the current local time, it is set to UTC. We're gonna go with Los Angeles, because why not? US. Oh, this is by state. Go with Hawaii then. Feeling a bit exotic. Choose a default. Obviously, Vim. What the heck are these? NVI. I mean, they look interesting, but I don't know how to use them. Select the default Windows Manager for X. Window Maker. Oh, oof. That's a classic right there. Window Maker. We're gonna go with the Window Maker then. Warning, no root password detected. This is currently a no password set on the system. It's recommended that you set one now. Would you like to set up one? Yeah, sure. Make it long and difficult for hackers to have trouble with. System configuration and installation is complete. You may now reboot your system. We're done. Exit the thingy-madonger. Please remove the installation disk. Power off. Gonna close it. Remove the disk from my VM. It's already gone. How did it do that? It removed itself. That's interesting. Okay. Boot it up. Ooh. That's cool. Press tab for Lilo prompt. Boot. Welcome. Log in. Root. Our complicated password. Okay, where's the GUI? Do we have to launch it? Hello? X session. Why? What is wrong with you? What happened? Give me a second. Okay, I'm an idiot. We type start X to start the X or whatever. Let's go, window maker. Look how sick this is. I don't know how to use window maker. Ooh. Firefox. Launch it. Cancel. Here's Firefox. YouTube. It is configured correctly. Here's the little icon on the bottom left. Now let's see applications, terminals, console with a K. This is our console. Can't see. Whatever, settings. Holy crickets. Well, anyways, this is it. You guys can figure out how to configure everything else. Can't do it from there. Maybe next term. Yep. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that.